As I've gotten older and moved through my 60s, I've found myself doing something I think a lot of fathers do. We look back. Not with regret, not wishing we could go back and start over, just looking back with the benefit of experience and a little more wisdom than I had when I was a little bit younger. And every now and then I think about my boys and things I taught them growing up, and I think about some of the things I probably could have done a little bit better, right? Have you ever found yourself doing that? Looking back and realizing there were opportunities that you didn't fully recognize at the time? Hey, if you're new to this channel, welcome. My name is Dan. I share thoughts, experiences, and lessons I've learned through life, work, family, and faith. And if those are topics that interest you, I'd be really honored to have you subscribe and join the conversation. Today's lesson is one that took me decades to fully understand. Now, before I go any further, let me be clear. This isn't one of those videos where I'm going to sit here and beat myself up for mistakes I made. Could do that. I think most parents do the best they can with what they know and at the time. And when you're raising kids, you're busy. You're working, you're paying bills, you're fixing things around the house, you're taking care of responsibilities. Most days, you're just trying to make it to bedtime. But as the years go by, you gain perspective. And perspective allows you to see things you really couldn't see in the moment, right? I mean, there are just some things I'm very glad I taught my boys. I taught them to be dependable. If you tell someone you're going to be somewhere at a certain time, be there. Actually, be there a little bit early. People notice that. And people remember it as well. And being dependable is one of the greatest gifts you can give not only yourself, but an employer, a spouse, a friend, or a customer. I taught them to do what they say they're going to do. Your word matters. Man's reputation is built on one promise at a time. And if you make a commitment to keep it, and if circumstances change, just be honest about it. I taught them honesty, not because honesty is always easy, and not because I was totally perfect about being honest, but because trust takes years to build, and it really only takes moments to lose. And I taught them not to be afraid to ask for help. Some people think asking for help is a weakness, but I've never believed that. Sometimes asking for help is the smartest thing a person can do. And I taught them to respect women, especially their mother. Not just their mother, but every woman deserves respect, but especially their mother, okay? I taught them to respect their elders, to listen when someone has walked a road that they haven't walked yet, to understand that experience is value. I mean, looking back, I'm proud of those lessons because those lessons have less to do with skills and more to do with character. And character lasts a lifetime. But there are other things I wish I had spent more time teaching. To kind of explain that, I have to go back to my own father. When I was a teenager, my brother and I spent a lot of time working with him. I worked in his hardware store. I worked alongside him on jobs he did for other people. Back then, if something broke, you fixed it. If something needed to be built, you built it. And if you didn't know how to do something, you found someone who did and you learned from them. So my father decided on, I guess you would call a big project, to build a house in Monroe, Michigan. Not a room addition, not a garage, an entire house from the ground up. This project, it took about 2.5 years. And my brother Mario, my uncle Al, and I all got to be a part of this amazing time. We didn't dig the basement. I don't think we didn't do the block work or the brick work. We hired out the drywall finishing from a friend, right? And we hired out the furnace and duct work and the carpet installation. But just about everything else we did. We framed it, we wired it, we plumbed it, we installed windows and built cabinets and solved problems, made mistakes, corrected them. We even laid out and installed the entire septic field except for putting in the septic tank itself. And when I look back now, I realize something important. My father wasn't simply teaching me construction. He was teaching me confidence. He was teaching me how to think, how to solve problems, how to approach something difficult without being intimidated by it. I mean, I don't know how intimidated he was about it, but it didn't seem like it. And he just took things in smaller pieces and just kept moving. I can remember standing there with him while he was figuring out the next step. And remember, this was before YouTube, before the internet, before you could pull out your phone and watch a video showing you exactly what to do. My father was a carpenter, but he learned all these other skills from watching his friends do all these other jobs, asking them questions, studying books, and from doing them in our home prior to this big undertaking. You learned from people. You learned by watching. You learned by doing. You learned by making mistakes, and you learned by having someone patient enough to explain why something was done a certain way. Looking back now, I think one of the greatest gifts my father gave me wasn't the knowledge itself. It was the confidence that I could learn and do things, that a lesson that served my entire life, really. Now here's where the hindsight comes in. I taught my boys some practical things. I showed them how to cut the lawn and how to change a tire, how to change the oil in a car, how to do some brake work and some minor repairs and things. But if I'm completely honest, I wish I had slowed down more often and spent more time explaining not only how something worked, but why it worked. Sometimes I was so focused on getting the job done that I missed opportunities to teach the lesson. So it's probably the sentence that sums up hindsight better than anything else. I was focused on completing the project when sometimes the most important part wasn't the project at all. It was the person standing next to me. So I could have taught them more about tools and what they are used for and how to use them, more about carpentry and plumbing and electrical work. I wasn't an expert on any of those things, but I did have enough experience. And because I had that experience, I should have shared it more with them so they could pass it on. Because not everybody needs to become a carpenter or an electrician, but there is confidence that comes from understanding how things work. And there is confidence that comes from solving problems with your own hands. There's confidence that comes from knowing that when something breaks, you not only have the ability to figure it out, but you can actually do it. And as fathers, we sometimes underestimate how valuable that confidence can be. But the older I've gotten, the more I realize something else. The biggest lessons our children learn often have nothing to do with tools. They're learning from us every day, whether we realize it or not. They're watching, how do we treat their mother? They're watching how we treat people who can't do anything for us. And they're watching how we act when things go wrong. They see how we handle disappointment, whether we tell the truth when it's difficult. They're watching whether we keep our promises, if we really do work hard, and whether we quit when things get tough. In many ways, our children learn more from our example than from our instruction. I think about that now when I look at my boys as grown men. Every once in a while, I'll hear one of them say something and think, oh man, that sounds familiar. Or I'll watch how they handle a situation and recognize that's something they picked up years ago. And that's really kind of when it hits you. They were paying attention all along. Even when it didn't seem like they were listening, even when you weren't giving a lesson, and even when you didn't realize you were teaching, they were watching. And so if there's any advice I could offer younger fathers, it'd be this. Teach the skills, teach them how to fix things, teach them how to solve problems, teach them how things work. Yeah, and even teach them how to be responsible. But don't stop there. Take that little extra time, explain the why, be patient. Let them help on little projects, even when you can be quicker to just do it by yourself. Let them make mistakes. Remember, the lesson is often more important than the task. And most importantly, remember that everything you do is setting an example. Because one day those little boys become grown men. And when that happens, you realize that what they learned didn't come only from the things you intentionally taught. It also came from life you lived in front of them every single day. My father thought he was teaching me how to build a house. Looking back, I realized he was helping build me. And maybe that's what fatherhood is really about. Not building houses, not fixing cars, not cutting grass, not teaching carpentry or helping. It's really helping to build people. And that's a job that never really ends. Even after they're grown, even after they have families of their own, we're still fathers. We're still examples. And in one way or another, we're still teaching. And, I really want to thank everybody for spending a few minutes here today. If this video brought back a memory or maybe made you think about your own father or your own children, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. And if you enjoy these conversations about life, family, work, faith, and the lessons we learn along the way, I'd really be honored if you'd subscribe and join me for future videos. Take care. I'll see you in the next one. Have a phenomenal day.